On this week's episode of Pop Culture Weekly, I talked to Scott Hoying of Pentatonix about his brand new solo single, Mars. Then I talk once again with M. Night Shyamalan and the cast of Servant at the live premiere of Season 4. Let's go!
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello, and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and I am so glad that you are here hanging out with me for the next little bit and talking and doing and living pop culture. So, last week, my favorite show in the world, Servant, I interviewed the cast. I interviewed M. Night Shyamalan, who, of course, is the executive producer, and Lauren Ambrose, and Toby Kebbell, and Nell Tiger Free. It was all about Servant, and Servant is on its fourth and final season. The first episode has debuted now, and if you've watched it, you saw how good was that episode. So, the series almost always takes place exclusively in the Turner's house, which is on Spruce Street in Philadelphia. And this episode pretty much all took place in front of the Turner's house, particularly in the car. And that car, it's just such an incredible show that never manages to keep me on my feet, to keep me being in shock as those credits roll. And it's just so well written, so well acted, so well produced. Just everybody on that team is so incredible, so talented, and I love them for it. So today, I told you last week that in this week's episode, we are going to talk to the cast live from the premiere in New York City. So I talk once again with M. Night Shyamalan, and Rupert Grint. I talked to Uncle George, Boris McGiver, love him. Of course, Nell Tiger Free, Matilda DeHay, who plays Snake. Oh, and I know you haven't met them yet, but two of my favorite characters in the show, Bobby and Bev. I love these characters. You will meet them in episode 3. Oh my God, I just immediately fell in love with them. They're crazy, they're zany, they're cool, and there's something strange going on with them. But in any event, I talk with Bobby, Barbara Kingsley, all about her role as Bobby in Servant. And over the next few weeks, maybe we'll have some special guests that will, pop up from Servant. I guess I just gave away the spoiler, but you never know. Could happen. Also on today's episode, I talk with Scott Hoying, who has been on the show before with Pentatonix, but this time he is solo, releasing his first major solo single called Mars, which is amazing. Love, love, love this song. And there's 2 new versions that just came out, a choir version and an acoustic version, and I am in love with the song. So let's start out with Scott. And if for some reason you have been under a rock, Scott is the, lead singer of Pentatonix. I guess there really isn't a lead singer. I don't know. But Scott is, in Pentatonix, one of the founding members. And if for some reason you live under a rock, they are essentially an a cappella group from Arlington, Texas, and they do pop style arrangements with harmonies and riffing and beatboxing, and they do some cover versions of modern pop songs and Christmas songs, sometimes medleys. They're just awesome. They essentially formed in 2011 and then won the 3rd season of The Sing Off on NBC, and then signed with Sony and blew up. I mean, they're really, really, really amazing. Their YouTube channel has over 23 million subscribers and 6 billion with the B views. 6 billion views. That's insane. Their latest album is their 6th Christmas album, Holidays Around the World, and the single released from that is called Prayers for This World. And Holidays Around the World, if you caught the hint in the title, has songs from different cultures that are sung during the holiday season, and some new versions of some songs they've previously released, plus 3 new originals: Kid on Christmas with Meghan Trainor and Star on Top, as well as Prayers for This World. And they'll be going on tour in 2023. That's this year. So lots of good stuff from them. Now, by the way, they have won 3 different Grammy Awards. 3 different Grammy Awards. And they're up for another Grammy for Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album at this year's Grammys for their album Evergreen. So love Pentatonix, and love Scott Hoying, who I'm talking with today. He is the baritone of Pentatonix. He is also an incredible songwriter and musician, and he has released his first big solo single called Mars. Mars, it's like this epic song. I absolutely love it. So Mars is out now. Like I said, there's 2 additional versions that he released just a few days ago. So let's get into my conversation with the one and only Scott Hoying. So, first of all, thank you so much, Scott, for joining me once again on iHeartRadio's Pop Culture Weekly. I appreciate it.
Of course. Hello. Thanks for having me. This is so cool. I've never done like a solo press day before. So.
Yeah, it's exciting for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's like just wild. I've been wanting to do this for years, but I've always been so scared. So thanks for having me.
Of course. You deserve it. And we're talking about Mars, the single, which is incredible, by the way. Kudos for that. Tell me, what is it like for you? You've been with Pentatonix, obviously, for, a very long time. And now, as you said, you're just branching out on your own. Are you terrified?
Partially. Fortunately, I do think I'm in the headspace where I feel like I have the confidence, and I feel good about putting it out, and I can go to sleep proud of it. And I'm not putting too much pressure on it, but there is a little bit of fear. That's what held me back for years, was just this fear that if I did something solo, everyone would hate it. And I would develop this complex that I'm not interesting on my own without like my bandmates. And so it's cool to see the response to it. And it's something I'm very proud of. And it's done more for me than just being able to put out music. It's just been a therapeutic, beautiful process of being able to be vulnerable and share my story and make art.
And I love that for you. And the single Mars is absolutely insanely good. Tell me about it. Where did the song come from, and how did we get to listen to it today?
So the song came from, during the pandemic, I learned how to use Pro Tools because I had to record remotely for Pentatonix stuff. And I became obsessed with Pro Tools and producing and writing. So I've started writing a song pretty much every day for the last year. And that's when I really started to be like, I need to do a solo project, because a lot of the songs were very personal stories. They wouldn't have totally fit with Pentatonix. And I just was working my creative muscle and was feeling really confident in them. And probably 80 songs into that writing a day thing, I wrote Mars. And I was like, oh man, this feels like it could be special, but let me play it for Mark. And Mark was like, this is your best one by far. I love it. He was crying. And that kind of started the process of talking to labels and figuring out what a solo project would look like. And right around the same time, I was arranging stuff for Meghan Trainor's new album, and she put me as a feature on one of the songs. And so it all felt like all the planets, no pun intended, were aligning.
I love that, and again, I love that for you, and I love it obviously as somebody who loves your work. For you, it's got to be freeing in a lot of ways, and in the fact that this is you. This is Scott, and there is no, none of your bandmates to answer a question that that you might not have wanted to, or whatever. It's Scott. Is that freeing in a lot of ways too? As much as it might be a little bit scary, is that freeing too?
It's both. It's very freeing in that, like, we usually have to unanimously agree on something creatively. And so that's obviously going to be a process, and it works. And I love it. But like, also there's just like a lot of voices. And so stuff takes longer. But whenever you're doing solo stuff, it's like, you can run through 20 ideas at the speed of light, like it's, and like really just like make decisions and move on. And so there's a little bit of like a flow that happens, which I think can contribute to making the most authentic art. It's just like moving at a brisk, not overthinking it speed. But at the same time, I am hit or miss with ideas sometimes. Sometimes I have a really good idea. Sometimes I have a not so good idea, and I don't have other voices or bandmates to like be brought back down to earth if I have like some crazy idea that's not working. So it feels riskier and it's scarier in that way.
Well, I think, in my opinion, it is very much so paid off. So, congratulations. And I really do mean that. Congratulations for taking that jump, because of everything that you're saying. And, we get an amazing track like Mars. So is this more of like a Stevie Nicks thing where you're doing Scott, but you're not abandoning Pentatonix. You're just doing Scott for right now.
Yeah, exactly. Pentatonix is still really busy. We got a full world tour next year and an album and stuff, and I'm fully just as dedicated. And I love the landscape of the music industry now. Like Bruno Mars can be Bruno Mars and also do Silk Sonic, and Anderson .Paak can do it. And like, it's just, now that things are so efficient, if I have a song idea and I can write it in 2 seconds with like this setup in my hotel in New York, and like have the song in a few hours. And so it's honestly not as exhausting as you would think. But there are moments where I'm like, have conflicting things, but it's definitely manageable. And I will also say that like doing solo stuff and writing so much and like living this dream of mine has made me a better bandmate, just mentally and creatively and musically for Pentatonix. Cause I've done so much arranging for the solo stuff I'm doing that like our arrangement for the national anthem we just did at the college football game got all this love. And I feel like I was able to make that arrangement as good as it was because of all the stuff I've been doing solo. So I think it's helping.
Awesome. And for Mars, it is so unique. When I first heard of the project, I don't know what I expected, but it was not Mars. And I'm glad that it, went way beyond my expectations. But I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting. But Mars is so deeply rich and layered in not just, in a lyrical way, but musically as well. Is that part of, obviously it's part of you, but was that intentional with this song, or is it just the way it came out?
It's kind of just the way it naturally came out. So I at the beginning of the year when I started writing every day, I really did not let myself just have too much of a vision at first, because I wanted to see where I naturally went, because I can tend to like really try to calculate things. And I wrote like silly, dumb, goofy songs, more R&B type stuff. I wrote country sounding stuff. And I kept coming back to kind of this like epic was like the main word that kind of was this through line. I love choirs and orchestral, and I want it to be big and anthemic. And Mars just like, I feel like was a song that I just loved and kept coming back to, and I couldn't stop listening to it. And it seemed to be the close people in my lives' favorites. And that's just what it turned into. But I never really at the very beginning intended for that to be the sound. No.
I love it. And for you, when you went to do the song, was this just you in a hotel room or whatever, just you kind of writing and playing it out and seeing what happens?
Yeah, I was at my house in LA, and I just went downstairs and wrote it at piano and like finished the song. And then I brought it to a producer that I love very much named John Levine, and he loved the song and he kind of helped me shape it. And we added a bridge, And then he started actually playing the one piano note at the beginning. And it was like, I'm hearing this kind of like Coldplay slow build thing, and I'm obsessed with that idea. And I was like, that is so perfect. And we just kind of built it out over a couple sessions together. And it was really emotional. It was just so cool to see something come to life from nothing. It was a powerful moment.
I'm sure, and especially to come from a blank page, literally, to this huge epic, like you said, anthem-ish Coldplay song. That is so, so beautiful. The vocals, just everything about it is absolutely beautiful. I'm obsessed with it.
Yay, thank you. That makes me so happy. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for giving it to us. And when you're doing any kind of music, do you kind of, like for when you were writing, for instance, Song a Day, was this, some of this might go towards Pentatonix, some of it might be for me, or was this I'm just going to write for Scott? And it is, it is what it is, and I'll see what I like at the end or whatever.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it changes every day. I'll like have an idea for this like unhinged song that I could never write myself, or could be for Pentatonix, but I'll just write it anyways, just to kind of like work that side of my brain. And some stuff, like if it gets really personal and vulnerable, I'll know it's more for me. And then if it's like a more general, like kind of message that I feel like 5 people could relate to in the band, I'll be like, maybe this is good for Pentatonix. But then also I've written stuff that have inspired me to like put in a musical or something. So it's more just like the action of writing and being creative and just getting stuff on paper.
I love it. And this interview, as all my interviews, I never script my interviews because I like talking, conversations better. Part of the problem with that is my ADD like bounces back and forth to, so I'm like here and there. But
no, I'm the same way.
Oh, awesome. Okay. For Mars, you just released 2 additional versions of the song, which one is a choir version, and they're both so different. One is the choir version, which I absolutely love, and the other is the acoustic version, which I also love. But I've been particularly obsessed today with the choir version. Was that part of what you envisioned from the start? You were like, I love this song the way it is, but I think it would be cool to kind of do a version like this? Or how did that come about for you?
Yeah, I did intend on doing like a choir version of it from the start. And I feel like I want to do that for a couple of the songs on this project, whatever it ends up being. And like, the idea actually stemmed from this behind the scenes video I saw of Hugh Jackman and singing with a bunch of incredible singers for like The Greatest Showman rehearsal. You can watch it. And they're singing from now on, and they're rehearsing it. And it's so loud in the room. And I just remember thinking I would pay absorbent amounts of money to be in that room, just like soaking up that visceral energy. And it was so cool to see. And so I really wanted to do that for Mars, just get some of like the best singers in LA and just belts. And like, it just is a very human, intense experience. And it was so fun to do. It was amazing. And the singers were so nice. They were also part of a group called Soca Vocals, which got me into acapella. So it felt kismet.
Oh, wow.
And it was an excuse to release another version of the song.
And, as you were recording that particular version, did you ever kind of just step back and be like, holy shit, this is my song that I wrote, and here are all these amazing singers, doing choir vocals on my song.
Yes, I had a lot of those moments. I was very teary-eyed multiple times. I also was like, not in an insecure way, but kind of like shy, because it like meant so much to me and I was kind of emotional. So I just remember talking to the choir and being like, thank you for being a part of this. Like, it's a really emotional experience for me, and I'm just so happy to be here. I was like, very humbled by the whole experience. And it was exciting. It felt really fresh and like a new chapter and a new world had opened up for me.
That's cool. And, it really does. The version, both of the new, I don't want to say new versions because the song is new, but exactly, are so beautiful and give just a different dimension to an already beautiful song. So, finally, because I know you have a whole junket today, where can we expect can we expect Mars on an upcoming album? Are you just kind of playing it by ear right now? What are you thinking?
So, I don't know for sure. The dream is to do an album or an EP. I'm not sure on the timeline, but all of it's being talked about, and it'll definitely be this year. And I just have so many songs I want to put out. If I had it completely my way, I would have a video and a song out every week. Just I've written so much, and there's so much I'm proud of. So it'll be coming soon.
Awesome.
But there's some good songs on there. I'm pumped.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Scott. I can't wait to see, what continues to come of this other aspect of you artistically. And go stream Mars.
Yes. Thank you so much for saying that. And thanks for having me.
Of course.
And thanks for all your words about Mars, too. I appreciate that.
Of course. Thank you. And for the next project, come on back.
Yes, I'll be here.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
Good to see you.
You as well. Bye.
Bye.
Scott's amazing, isn't he? His single Mars is out right now on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to your music. So, next up, let's get into the second round of interviews on my favorite show ever for season 4. And it's the final season, which I'm so bummed about, but I'm also happy knowing that they went out the way they wanted to, knowing that they had 40 chapters of this story to tell, and then it was going to be done. I credit M. Night for doing that on such a successful show. So many great shows end up kind of sullying their legacy by going on far too long. M. Night knew what story he wanted to tell with these characters, knew how long it was going to take, and he did it. So kudos to him. One of my favorite directors ever. Let's talk to Uncle George, Boris McGiver. Hi, Boris. How are you? First of all, thank you so much for speaking with me. One of my favorite shows ever. And how has it been for you? The entire ride has been crazy as Uncle George. As a viewer, has it been as fun to play him as it is for us to watch him?
Yes. No question. Absolutely. I was saying earlier, this is the most fun I've had with a character in 30 years. Wow. And I've been doing it for 31 years. Yeah. It's so much fun. It's the wackiest, as you know, weirdest. I mean, the direction I got at my audition 5 years ago from Night was, I can't even tell you, but it was three-pronged that had nothing to do with each other. Like, you're a spiritual guy, you're borrowing a cadaver, or you're head of a cult, or you're a mass killer. I'm like, so go with that. I'm like, okay. So it's been a total blast.
And now that it's over, I mean, you guys wrapped in December-ish, and, you were in his studio and for so long. What is it like now that, you can look back knowing that character story has been told?
I'm quite proud of it, just to be involved, and I'm honored. That was really cool. I've done a few series over the years, and this is just another one I'm so happy to have been involved with. Really, because I had so much fun, and it's pretty cool. A lot of people like it, which is great.
Yeah, it's one of my top 3 favorite shows. I absolutely love it. I actually went to the sale. They sold off a bunch of the stuff. Yeah,
I would have if I didn't live.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And I just got a couple of, and they ended up giving me some cool props and stuff, which I was so thankful for. But yeah, it's just one of those shows that it's just an edge of your seat, and it's so, the world is built so incredibly, so well written, fleshed out. It's awesome. It's just so much fun to watch,
Yeah, everyone just kind of plunged in and just said, yeah. They said dive, and is it deep enough? Sure. Okay, here we go. Woo.
Right. Thank you so much, Boris. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks much.
Thank you. Boris, of course, was Monsignor Matthew Korecki in Evil. Love that show, too. He was also Tom Hammerschmidt in 30 episodes of House of Cards. Great actor. Love him as Uncle George. So creepy as Uncle George. And, all right. Next up on the servant red carpet is Snake herself, Matilda Day. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm doing well, thank you. What was it like to play Snake for you, in this incredible series?
Huge blessing. I changed a lot of my life personally too, because it brought Kundalini yoga to my life. The snake arising, the spine literally happened. One thing led to the other, which really freed me up in many ways in my personal life and my life as an actor.
For 1 second, I'll bring him right back.
Yeah.
I saw the first few episodes of season 4, and I'm like dying because now I gotta wait another month to get the next episode. Oh, really? Oh, okay. So this is your premiere too, yeah? Okay, yeah. It's oh my God, it's love that. Yeah, exactly. So what was it like for you to this? You came in season 4, absolutely incredibly tight, well-written show. What was it like for you to come in and kind of do your thing in the final season?
A lot of things, but at first I did have that intruder, type of, am I really here? Do I, can I do what I need to do? But then the passion takes over, and especially in a team like this where people are so supportive, so talented, so open-minded, it makes it just a blessing. It's a true blessing. So yeah.
What's next for you?
Maybe you know better than me that too. I don't know yet. I'm auditioning. Maybe my manager, she's somewhere around.
I cannot say.
That's what. Thank you.
Yeah, no matter what, it's great things.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Matilda, her character Snake, is so interesting because so far in the series, as you'll see, it's like I like her, but I also don't, because I'm not exactly sure which side she's on, the good side or the bad side. So we shall see as we continue the series, coming to a conclusion at episode 10. Next up, director and writer, filmmaker, and M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, Ishana Shyamalan. So, first of all, I love the show, one of my favorites ever. I love the first few episodes of season 4. I can't wait to see the rest of it. How, for you, was it? What was it like to be able to be a part of this world that's such a well-built, well-written series?
Absolutely. I mean, I think coming in with material that's that good and kind of a high concept that's that good really inspires you as a creative to meet those standards and keep pushing the box kind of creatively. So, I mean, this is the dream situation, I think, as both a writer and director, because you get to come in and really just sort of imagine anything, and many, many wonderful colors to play with. So, yeah.
And for you, did this give you more of a bug to create, as a director, writer, producer? Are you like on fire now?
Oh, absolutely. I think when you find that thing that feels like your passion, you know it immediately, and that's definitely how I felt being on the show. It was just sort of felt like where I needed to be. So, and getting to hone my skills on this set and sort of become a more muscular writer-director, I now feel like I can enter the kind of film world feeling good. So,
do you have an interest in the types of projects that your father, Knight, is known for? Those, which I'm obsessed with. Those like kind of interesting, sometimes weird, sometimes creepy worlds. Is that kind of like a thing you like too?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, I don't know if it's a choice or not, but I feel I was born into this life where that material is just the most interesting to me, and I have a dark side as well. So I'm very excited to kind of begin putting that into the film sphere. Yeah.
Awesome. And can we expect, or you have any plans for your next project? Or?
Yes, I'm in the process of prepping my first feature, so that should be happening very, very soon. Yes. Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Yeah.
Hello. Ishana Shyamalan. Love her. She is so talented, and I am so excited to see her continue growing in her career, see what she does next. It's really awesome that she has actually directed and written my favorite episode so far, which is episode 3 called Seance, which will come out next week with Bev and Bobby, as I've been talking about for weeks. So I think it's interesting that she wrote and directed that episode. It's my favorite one so far. And that is all because of Ishana. So we'll be hearing a lot from Ishana Shyamalan coming in time. I am really, really sure of that. Next up, Bobby, who you haven't yet met, but you will in next week's episode 3, titled Seance. Well, I guess it's season 4, episode 3, titled Seance. And she plays half of the pair, Bev and Bobby, who you are going to love, I think, just as much as I do. So here she is, stage and screen actor, Barbara Kingsley. My favorite part about season 4 so far, I've watched the first 3-4 episodes, is Bev and Bobby. I absolutely love them. And how was it for you? Because you ladies just kind of came in and you're like a whirlwind in the series. How much fun was that for you to kind of do this?
It was just crazy fun. We had never met. I knew Denny's work. But, if you look up my resume or my bio, it's no secret that I spent 35 years in Minnesota honing the craft of stage. And so, as a result, I learned a lot from Denny. Plus, we're very different as human beings, so very different. But she has this sense of
whimsy about her, and then she'll just do laser focus. And so whenever we were working, we'll find out, how much you see the two of us interacting with each other. But we were always this duo that fed off each other, which was so cool.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you came, from the stage, because Servant is very much, for me, almost like a play that all kind of takes place mostly in this house, and it's very tight writing.
I wanted that house so badly, and I wandered around going, my mom has that, oh wow, it is. I wanted to go there and live, and I thought that karma would be a little weird. Kind of. Yeah, it very much so.
So I got to tell you, I went to the sale of the, yes, and I got a couple of things from Bev and Bobby's apartment, which I thought was amazing. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so cool. Yeah, it really was really cool. Yeah.
I kind of wanted to go, but I was afraid it'd make me really sad. And then I'd be like, oh, can I even afford to buy that ashtray? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, they had some awesome, it was amazing. And they had basically Bev and Bobby's apartment just kind of still set up, it was awesome. So I can't wait to see what happens with Bev and Bobby in the rest of season 4. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Be well.
Thank you. You too. Barbara Kingsley as Bobby. Love, 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 love her. Next up, the servant herself, Nell Tiger Free. Hey, good speaking with you again. Good, how are you? What is it? Have you seen the first few of season 4 yet, or is this going to be your first?
It's going to be the first time I see it. Oh, wow. It's going to be, with all these beautiful people, it's going to be my first time, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows ever. I've said that before, and I love your arc and how you have changed, your character. Do you feel that as an actor that has happened for you too over the 4 seasons?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I would have been able to go on and do the project I did after Servant without Servant. I don't think that I would have been able to have the confidence to go and make a feature if I didn't do this show. It's kind of been the most amazing learn as you go. I didn't go to school for acting, and so I just this has been that for me, and the directors and Knight and my beautiful castmates who I love so much. I love you. They've been like a masterclass for me, so I've grown a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nell. Congratulations on the series, and I look forward to the film. Nice to see you too. She is a delight. And if you, as you may have noticed, as we're talking, all of my papers fell, I guess, from the stand they were on. And so she, being awesome, picks them up. I mean, so cool. Just love her. So Nell Tiger Free is so talented, and I can't wait to see her next move. All right, next up, the one and only Rupert Grint. Congratulations on season 4. What was it like for you? You've been there since day one. What was it like for you to finish, this incredible story?
Yeah, it was really kind of moving, I think. I mean, from a personal level, just being a part of the show for so long, and I think personally as well. I mean, I've been, obviously, my history is Potter, which was a very long-term kind of job. But in a way, this felt a little bit more kind of significant in many ways, because I became a dad halfway through. We had the COVID that interrupted our shooting, so it really feels like we've been on this incredible journey for the last 5 years, and for it to kind of suddenly all wrap up is always hard. I think we're always going to miss the people, but I think it's the perfect time to finish, and I think where the show has kind of gone now it's really interesting, and it's kind of changed directions, and you never really know where you are with it, and there's a lot of questions we have to answer in this season, so I think it comes to a very satisfying conclusion for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait I'm dying to see. And now I have like a month, you know what I mean, to catch up, But one of the things that I love is your character and how, they are all the characters are flawed, right? But yours is he is very open and sometimes blunt with, what's happening. Is that refreshing for you to do something that's just kind of raw?
Yeah, absolutely. I love when I first read Julian, he's just got such a very specific way of speaking. I love his kind of freeness with his words, and there's just nothing that he's not afraid of anything. Particularly in the early seasons, he's this very strong character who's kind of the perfect person to have in this situation, because he's very cool-headed and he's always got an answer. But I mean, as we see, as it's kind of unpeeled throughout these seasons, there's a lot of guilt he's holding on to, and a lot of things he's kind of dealing with. So he's a lot weaker than we really perceive originally, and that's interesting to kind of. It's been interesting to kind of unpick that.
Yeah. And finally, what's next for you? Do you have your next project lined up? Are you taking some time off? Or?
I did a movie with Knight. It comes out next month. Knock. But yeah, I mean, since then, no, I think just at home, just being a dad is what I'm enjoying. Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for speaking with me. I really appreciate it. Rupert Grint. Love him. This is my 4th interview with Rupert Grint, and all 4 have been about Servant, one for each season. So that's exciting that, I think now we'll have to have Justin check. But I think now the cast of Servant are my most frequent guests, with 4 appearances each on the show. So that's really cool. Alrighty. So speaking of one of my favorite directors ever, let's get into talking to him live from the red carpet in New York for the Servant Season 4 premiere. Here's M. Night Shyamalan. Hey, Night. How are you? Good to see you. So you are here for Season 4 premiere. What is that like for you, knowing, this is the last premiere for this world?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very rare thing to be able to do a TV show on your own terms for the entire time and finish it because it was the right time to finish it, and the audience is still like at the peak of what their love for the show. That is rare, right? You're leaving when you're at the peak of the audience's love for the show because the story has finished, and so that's just a beautiful thing. And the whole thing has been kind of poetic on so many levels, both I got to work with my girls. Our girls got to be a part of it, but all the filmmakers that I got to work with from around the world, it just all feels like a dream that I wished it to be this way, and it really, so rarely in life does it exceed your expectations, and this did.
For you, with with this world that you've built, would you make that choice going forward to know that there's going to be a beginning, middle, end? Because that is relatively rare today. Is that a choice you're going to be doing from now on? Or do you kind of sometimes like the excitement of maybe it goes wherever it goes?
No, this is a big subject to me, what you're referencing, the idea of don't let opportunity dictate your decisions. That can't be the way. I know that's contrary to the business, but it should be the story and the creativity dictates your decisions. And as we laid it out, it was 4 seasons. Did everyone want a 5th and a 6th and a 7th? Yes, but that's the way it felt. And also what I could give at that level, where I want to put in every sound effect, I want to adjust every color, I want to do every cue with the composer. And so to do that requires an incredible amount of dedication, and this is as much as I could give without stopping making movies, And so I let the process and the story dictate how long the show should be, and so it was a beautiful thing. And yes, we do it again, the same exact thing. We let story dictates it, and we're out. No matter how much money, no matter how much opportunity, you guys will smell that. Yeah.
And that is why, I've told you this before, that is why it's one of my top 3 shows ever, is because that authenticity, that, it's all about the story. And just a side note, I got to tell you, I went to the sale and I got a couple of cool things. I'm like in love. So now I have like a piece of one of my favorite shows. So yeah, as a big, film buff, and you are too, you know what that means. So anyway, thank you. Congratulations on the success of Servant, and thank you for speaking with me again. Thank you. Love him. I seriously never get sick of talking to him. I could talk to him all the time. He's a genius. He really is. And I just can't wait to see what he does next, which is, in his case, is called Knock at the Cabin, which is coming out in February. So, yeah, there is the audio interviews from my Servant Season 4 Live from the Red Carpet experience. You can see the videos of the interviews up on the YouTube channel or our Facebook, wherever you want to find them. Or just go to podcast.popcultureweekly.com and you can see them right there. By the way, at popcultureweekly.com, you also get... There's always blog posts going up that I got for you, and reviews and videos and interviews and all that good stuff. So keep visiting. Please keep sharing and reviewing. Reviewing helps on Apple Podcasts so much. I appreciate you doing that. It helps us grow. It helps us get greater. It helps us get continue to give great interviews and content, which I hope that I do for you every single week. All right. That's our show for this week. Next week, we have a man called Jason Segel and the cast of Shotgun Wedding, which I am excited about. So we'll have those out for next week. Let me know what you think of this episode. Hit me up on socials at KMac Music on Twitter and Instagram. Real Kyle McMahon on Facebook and YouTube. I will see you next week. I love you. We out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
I'm gonna combine Pentatonix and Servant because I love them both. I want to live in the house that the Turners live in, even though it's a bit creepy. Maybe you aren't really observant, but my favorite show, yes, it's Servant. streaming on Apple TV. Plus. Hello? Is this thing on? They all left.